Three black men have dominated the news in recent days: Eric Adams, Marcellus Williams, and Mark Robinson. Their stories don't have much in common, but they reveal a disturbing reality about our country and our politics. First, New York City Mayor Eric Adams was indicted this week on bribery and corruption charges. 3 years ago, when I was still living in New York, I refused to vote for him, but gave him 4 years to prove me wrong. He did not prove me wrong. Last year, Eric Adams refused to condemn a white man who choked a black man to death on a New York City subway train. In January, he vetoed a ban on solitary confinement in New York City jails and vetoed a bill to document police stops. Just as I expected, Adams brought back the racially biased stop and frisk policing that was ruled unconstitutional a decade ago. And in the past few months, his administration has been engulfed in scandals and resignations. Eric Adams is exactly who I thought he would be, and many of us tried to warn New Yorkers. But I remember talking to black men in Harlem who supported him over a talented black woman named Maya Wiley, in part because he's a black man. For all the lies that Kamala is a cop, here's a guy who was actually a cop, a former police captain and a former Republican, but many black men were still willing to support him. Second, Marcellus Williams, a 55-year-old black man from my hometown of St. Louis, was killed by the state of Missouri this week after the U.S. Supreme Court refused to stop the execution, even though the prosecutor filed a motion to vacate his conviction. The NAACP appropriately called the execution a lynching. A 6-3 Supreme Court decision split along party lines. All 6 Republican-appointed justices approved his execution. All 3 Democratic-appointed justices tried to stop it. Donald Trump appointed 3 of those Republicans to the bench. That means that if Hillary Clinton had won in 2016 instead of Donald Trump, Marcellus Williams would more than likely still be alive. Still, some people on social media tried to blame Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for Williams' death. That's a damn lie. Missouri's Republican governor, Mike Parson, and Missouri's Republican Supreme Court approved the execution. It was the Democratic prosecutor in St. Louis County and the Democratic appointees in the Supreme Court who tried to stop it. I've been a lifelong opponent of the death penalty in all cases. So for anyone who's upset about the execution of Marcellus Williams, don't ever tell me it doesn't matter who wins elections. This is literally life or death. Elections have consequences. Third, North Carolina Republican Mark Robinson has been outed as a self-hating, hypocritically porn-obsessed black Nazi who wants to bring back slavery and join the Ku Klux Klan. Even after all that, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance refused to disavow him. This proves the point I've made many times before, that Republicans love black people who hate black people. I get why white people support Robinson, but how the hell can any self-respecting black person be associated with a party like this? Just this week, Louisiana Republican Clay Higgins called Haitian Americans wild, nasty, voodoo-loving, pet-eating thugs who should get their ass out of our country. And even then, Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson refused to condemn his racist rhetoric.
Well, Clay Higgins is a dear friend of mine and a colleague from Louisiana, and a very frank and outspoken person. He's also a very principled man.
First of all, Clay Higgins admitted years ago that he voted for Ku Klux Klan leader David Duke for governor of Louisiana. So why is he a dear friend of the Speaker of the House? Second, Speaker Johnson claimed that Higgins...
And he prayed about it, and he regretted it, and he pulled the post down.
But he only deleted it after the Congressional Black Caucus brought up a resolution to censure him.
But, we move forward. We believe in redemption around here.
Redemption? No, sir. There can be no redemption without contrition. So tell me, when will Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Clay Higgins, and Elon Musk apologize to the Haitian Americans whose lives they've endangered as they've engaged in what is the most overtly racist major party presidential campaign in 60 years? These people are not the least bit remorseful about their bigotry, unless it blows up in their faces. And just like Mark Robinson, they've all had a long history of racist, sexist, and inflammatory rhetoric before these latest scandals erupted. And that's the problem. Too many Americans don't pay attention to their government until it's time for a presidential election every 4 years. But these 3 completely different stories of Eric Adams, Marcellus Williams, and Mark Robinson show what happens when we don't pay attention. Our ignorance makes us susceptible to the clickbaiters, cynics, opportunists, hoteps, bots, and ops who spread misinformation for clout and pay. I've worked in local, state, and federal government. I know that governing is complicated. The system is designed to make it easy for the powerful to maintain their power, but difficult for the powerless to fight back. So stop listening to the clout-chasing clowns who don't know anything about government or politics, who try to get you not to vote or to throw away your vote. And stop listening to the cynics who peddle unrealistic expectations of what can happen in a single term in office and then weaponize your disappointment. The truth is, we can't win if we don't participate, and we can't participate effectively if we don't know the rules.